video. Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video. And today we're going to be doing a beginner's guide to Sinestro. A brief history on Sinestro. Sinestro was originally Green Lantern. And during his time, Sinestro was one of the greatest Green Lanterns of them all, next to Abensor. His sector was completely void of criminal activity. There was no crime or evil in his sector. Well, no evil but one. See, Sinestro was so good at his job that he ruled his sector with an iron fist, and he started ruling it using fear. Eventually, he is charged with teaching Hal Jordan how to be a Green Lantern. It made Hal Jordan the Green Lantern he is today. However, during this time, Hal Jordan found out that Sinestro was ruling his planet and his sector using fear, and eventually got Sinestro stripped of his ring and banished to the antimatter dimension. Now, in this antimatter dimension, Sinestro fashioned a new ring, and this ring was a yellow ring that, instead of using willpower like the Green Lantern ring, instead used fear. Sinestro then became a constant thorn in the side of Hal Jordan. But eventually, Hal Jordan went crazy and snapped Sinestro's neck. But that's not the end of Sinestro. Sinestro was brought back to life during the Green Lantern Rebirth saga and created the Sinestro Corps. Now, the Sinestro Corps are Corps members who use fear rings, the yellow rings, to defeat their enemies. And each Corps member has their own section. However, in the recent story arc, War of the Green Lanterns, Sinestro is no longer a Sinestro Corps member, or its leader. No, instead, now he is a Green Lantern. Warning to all those people that have not read War of the Green Lanterns, spoiler coming up. In the War of the Green Lanterns, Mogo, the planet that distributes all the Green Lantern rings, was destroyed, and Green Lantern's rings were distributed to people that don't necessarily deserve them. And Sinestro was one of them. Now Sinestro is the star of the Green Lantern title. But he's not alone. Hal Jordan will be in it also, but without his ring. Personality. Sinestro has a very Machiavellian personality in that he believes heavily in the Green Lantern Corps. He believes in its cause to create peace throughout the galaxy. However, his motives are different. He believes that peace in the galaxy should be done through strict ironclad ruling. It should not be done through protecting in peace. He believes that through a strict dictatorship-like rule that there will be constant peace in the galaxy. This doesn't make Sinestro necessarily evil, but it does make him bad. He has a greater good to his methodology, but he does it in a bad way. He's also a character that has close ties to both friends and enemies, whether he likes to admit it or not. Although Hal Jordan is his greatest enemy, he also considers him one of his greatest friends next to Abensor. He has a grudging respect for Hal Jordan, and he constantly tells Hal Jordan that if someone was going to kill him, he would like it to be Hal. So Sinestro has a very Machiavellian approach, that the greater good outweighs all the stuff that you're going to do to get there. Powers and abilities. Sinestro on his own is a decent hand-to-hand combatant. He's a massive strategist and a genius. You do not want to outthink this man because, well, you're not going to. Sinestro has had several different rings throughout his career. He's had White Lantern rings, Sinestro rings, the yellow rings, and Green Lantern rings. And more or less the rings have done the same thing. The ability to create constructs, just through different means. For example, the Green Lantern rings and the yellow rings create constructs and energy shields and various different powers. However, the Green Lantern ring is based off will, while the Sinestro ring is based off of fear. In the new DCNU, where Sinestro is the star of the Green Lantern comic, he is going to be with a Green Lantern ring. So all of his powers via the ring are going to be based off of willpower. People who might read Green Lantern. Well, to be honest, it's kind of a mixed bag. It really comes down to this, how Sinestro is going to be handled as a Green Lantern. Because although Sinestro has been Green Lantern beforehand, he's never been the star of a book as a Green Lantern. I feel as though this book, and this is just more or less me shooting in the dark, is going to be a journey personally for Sinestro and for Hal Jordan. But like with all Green Lantern books, it's going to have a very space sci-fi touch. It's going to be like Star Wars almost, or Star Trek, in that it's going to be mostly up in the space and dealing with various different races, cultures, and planets. And you can expect a lot of action from Green Lantern, especially seeing Geoff Johns is going to be writing it. So if you like a more sci-fi, futuristic touch to your comics, stuff that deals with space and intergalactical travel and combat, then you're definitely going to like Green Lantern. If you find Sinestro or Hal Jordan interesting as characters, they're going to be in this book. Sinestro will be the star, but there's no doubt that Hal Jordan will show up and have his own character arc going on. Also, if you're a fan of Geoff Johns or any of his work previous to this, then you're probably going to enjoy Sinestro. Sinestro is an interesting character that really does walk the fine line of being in the gray area. He does evil and bad stuff, but he feels it's for the best and feels it's for the greater good. He believes in the Green Lantern cause, but not the means to create that cause. So with that said, this is a beginner's guide to Sinestro, the new Green Lantern.